Greetings, everyone. What a day. Here we are on Monday, June 23rd, 2025. This is your host, Marco Ponce of BeingJustified.com with the Monday edition of the Watchman Report. And man, oh man, y'all, it was quite the day, I would say. But here we are, where Trump has announced a ceasefire between Israel and Iran that he calls the 12-day war. We're going to get to cover that and much more. But I am here as a faithful ambassador. Do not forget, man, if you're new to the Watchman Report, I have been around since 2020, publicly showing my face, proving all things, rightly dividing the word of truth, that the beast, the biblical beast of Revelation 13 from the Red Sea is Prince Mohammed bin Salman, which equals 666 with gematria. He is the Prince of the Covenant. He will be the seventh king of Revelation 17 for a short space, first half of the tribulation. And when he does the deal with Israel,
it's the final countdown.
And yet, again and 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 again, we constantly see references to what I call the beast piece that is about to transpire. And that's what we have on our thumbnail today. Our report today is titled, All We Are Seeing Right Now is for the Beast Piece. All right, so with all that said, welcome to the Watchman Report. That's what that song is all about. It's the final countdown. And don't forget, before Trump came back into office, they were playing that a lot because it truly is about to be the final 7-year countdown before the real second coming of the Lord Jesus Christ in flaming fire. But with all that said, here are the big updates for today, okay? I'm going to do a little bit of a victory lap because I nailed it yet again in regards to when America would potentially get involved with striking Iran. All by the numbers with the devil's mystery of iniquity, which doth already work. I nailed it yet again. I haven't only told you when the work could potentially start, but when America could get involved. And that all had to do with the Jesuit Superior General. He is the current leader of the Jesuit militia of the Vatican, which reigns over the kings of the earth, as per the word of God, with Revelation 17:18. Now, point number 2 is we had another big day by the numbers. Today leaves 191 days in the year. And Society of Jesus, like the Jesuits, that equals 191. And we got to see a big old escalation with Qatar, that sisterly country to the beast of Saudi Arabia. And point number 3, right before I got on, I'm talking about right before, as I was finishing compiling the report, right before I got on, Trump declares a ceasefire between Israel and Iran. And by the way, none of the other parties with Iran or Israel have actually confirmed it. So again, y'all, this is rather crazy. I have been thinking to myself, since 2020, I thought Saudi Arabia with the beast would join the Abraham Accords and start the end of the world. But 5 years later, here we are. We have taken many twists and turns to get us to where we're at, and we're still not at the end of the world. But I do know this. I know it's MBS doing the deal with Israel that starts the end of the world. That is the crux of the matter. That is what I am chiefly watching for. Number one thing I am watching for is when the beast MBS, because I know he's the beast, when he does that deal with Israel, that will start the end of the world. But like I said, point number 1, y'all, okay? I gave you the date of when the Jesuit Pope would die. That was a date at the beginning of April that we were watching for. And then early this month, we actually said June 13th looks like a pretty ripe date with the trends in the news. The trajectory was looking like the war would pop off, and it did with Iran and Israel. And here we are. But over the weekend, if you look at our report from Wednesday, I said on last week's Wednesday report, I said, you know what? If America's going to get involved, it might be Sunday, because that is 222 days after the Jesuit general's birthday, and order out of chaos equals 222. And like The Economist said, we're living in the age of chaos with the devil's mystery of iniquity, which is order out of chaos. You know, a lot of people can't prove anything, but let alone, where is order out of chaos in the Bible? Where's the Hegelian dialectic in the Bible? That's all the devil's mystery of iniquity, man. I don't hear a lot of people quoting that verse, by the way. That is the number one thing we're mainly seeing right now. It's just the devil's mystery of iniquity program taking us to the end of the world. But again, there goes another date, okay? Not only did we call when Iran would start, when Israel would start the war with Iran, but we also said if America's going to get involved, Sunday looks like a good day. And that's exactly when it happened. Sunday, Middle Eastern time. So again, got to give myself a pat on the back, man. A faithful ambassador's health. Because I do know this, man. We do it for the few. We should have millions of viewers. But I know Satan is the god of this world. He's the father of lies and the prince of the power of the air. He does not promote truth. He promotes liars that give you the wrong gospel, wrong Bible, and tell you there's a pre-tribulation rapture coming up, and tell you that Obama's the Antichrist, that Trump is the Antichrist. Those are the people that are promoted on social media. I am not, as a matter of fact, they don't even want to mention my name. They don't even want to mention my name because they know this, for we can do nothing against the truth but for the truth. They don't even want to make fun of me. Think about all the crazy stuff I'd be saying. But I prove it. The Bible says prove all things. I prove it, and we're rightly dividing. But here is the headlines from over the weekend where it says U.S. enters war with Iran, man. That did not surprise me. All right, I was actually told by my brother Marco. I have a brother Marco. I fellowship with him. He posted it in the group that we fellowship with. And I was outside at the time doing some gardening work. Today was a similar day. I was outside doing some gardening work, and I came back to all the Qatar news. Like I said, we're on warp speed to the end. Things are happening so fast. You could say, I'm a full-time, evangelist, a minister, a bishop, teacher, a watchman. I'm all those titles. I'm full-time, right? And even for me, this is a lot to take in and collate. All right, remember, just follow us on Telegram. You can see all the updates in real time. But I try to collate only the biggest stuff for you here on the Watchman Report. But let us now take a look at what they called that operation. When America got involved with their B-2 bombers like we see on iPad Go 2, we have already seen the iPad Go 2 card come to pass. That already happened. And we've been talking about that since like 2020 as well. Okay? But we finally got to see that come to pass with what they call Operation Midnight Hammer. The thing that really catches my attention other than the numbers is the mention of the word midnight. As a pop quiz, you should know what they mean when they say that. When the satanic network of workers of iniquity, the Masons, the Jesuits, the Papal Knights, all these wicked bastards, the workers of iniquity, when they mention the midnight hour, that is the middle of the tribulation going into the great tribulation. Okay? That's the midnight hour, which the word of God also says is the hour of temptation, which cometh upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. That's what we're about to hit, man. And notice, in the midnight hour, we have 7 seals, 7 vials, and 7 trumpets. That's when they start, by the middle of the tribulation going forward. And that's all coming in the midnight hour. And notice, with the practice of gematria of taking letters to numbers, Operation Midnight Hammer equals 777 with prime numbers. All right, that's a big one right there. That one really caught my attention when you're giving me that number. And at the same time, we see images from the Situation Room with the military leaders throwing up the devil horns, okay? Look at that crap. They're getting ready, man. What's double horns right there, double horns. But also, with the most simple cipher, Operation Midnight Hour equals 129. That is 201 like the Jesuit order with octal counting or base 8 counting, okay? But like I said, over the weekend, we did see America get involved like I called it. Last week on Wednesday, I said, you know what? It looks like America's going to get involved. But this date looks ripe as to doing it by the numbers with the devil's mystery of iniquity. And I was very correct, okay? A lot of people say, Marco, it happened on Saturday. But no, it was Sunday in Middle Eastern time when it happened, okay? And like I said, on Sunday was 222 days after the Jesuit general's birthday. That is the leader of the militia of the Vatican that reigns over the kings of the earth today, all right? And this is all being done with order out of chaos, with the devil's mystery of iniquity, which equals 222. All right. As a side note, there was a little 10 reference there from the start of the war with Iran, and Satan equals 10 as well. But I now see the following here in the news that I wanted to bring to your attention, and maybe another potential date to watch for, because on the Jerusalem Post, it says Israel to wrap up war on Iran in coming days. Defense sources tell Jerusalem Post. Now, in the next coming days, we might have another big date here to look forward to. June 26th. It is not far from now, but one of the things that I take note of here is that is day 177 of the year. The Jesuit order equals 177. So let's just see what they got, all right? Don't be surprised if you see something significant happen on this date, which is day 177. But another one that I want you to take note of is July 7th, because from the start of the Gaza war on October 7, 2023 to July 7th is 640 days. Just eliminate the zero value and Israel equals 64. And also notice on July 7th, we just mentioned 177, but on July 7th, it is the day of the year that leaves 177 days left in the year. So take note of those two dates, put them in your calendar. They are ripe. They are ripe. Like I said, when I say the word ripe, that means it's adding up with the devil's mystery of iniquity by the numbers, okay? That's all I'm saying. So if you see something pop off, don't be surprised, for the mystery of iniquity doth already work. Only he who now letteth, the devil, only he who now letteth will let, until he, the devil, be taken out of the way, when the Lord returns for 1,000 years, and he's sealed in the bottomless pit to deceive the nations no more. Now, these are the headlines right now. Look at this, okay? Iran launches missiles at U.S. bases in Qatar. That happened today on another significant day, which leaves 191 days left in the year. Society of Jesus equals 191. That's why we're seeing these escalations here. These are the scenes. It looks like a bunch of fireworks, okay? Nobody got hit. And as you could tell, the narrative in the public news was that Iran would attack U.S. bases in the Middle East. Well, one of the biggest ones that Trump just visited when he went to visit the Beast in May was in Qatar, as you can see right here. But there's also others, okay? We got some in Syria, Jordan, Iraq, Kuwait, UAE, Qatar, obviously a lot in Saudi Arabia. And speaking of Saudi Arabia with the Beast, well, he's on the move. All right, keep your eyes on the Beast. Keep your eyes on the Beast, Mohammed bin Salman. He's going to come and deliver a solution. You just watch, okay? If things get crazier, all right, don't forget, he's going to come and deliver the Beast peace. And at the same time, we see the following from the Saudi Post, where they're saying, Saudi Crown Prince affirms the solidarity of the Gulf Cooperation Council, because he leads it with the GCC, countries in these sensitive circumstances that is going on in the region. Okay, so again, he's the big chief in the Middle East. It's the House of Esau that's running the Middle East. But again, another thing that I took note of today is from I believe it's from the birthday. It's from the birthday of the leader of Qatar to today is 21 days. Jesuit equals 21. And there is the leader of Qatar with the Beast himself. All right. That is a sisterly country. He calls them, the Beast of Saudi Arabia calls Qatar a sisterly country, all right? They are in cahoots. They are all conspiring with the Beast for the end coming up. And that's Esau reporting right there from Saudi Arabia's Arab News, talking about Iranian missiles headed for the U.S. base in Qatar. All of them, they say, were intercepted. So it was just a bunch of fireworks, essentially. All they got to see was some fireworks in the sky. No damage done, all right? It's all very minimal. It's just to keep the news going. All right. Every time I see the news today, I just keep thinking of that song from Imagine Dragons, Bones, where it says, "Is this entertaining? My patience is waning." Because pretty soon, people are going to lose all control because they got magic in their bones and they're going to rage. But either way, don't forget Esau, the Beast, Mohammed bin Salman. He likes to play every side. He says, I want to do a deal with Israel. I condemn Israel. I want a two-state solution. I condemn Iran. I want to do a peace deal with Iran. Man, Esau is so double-faced, I don't even know what to tell you. But don't forget who Esau is today. Mohammed bin Salman is Edom. That equals 666. It's easy to prove. He's rebuilding Edom that they call Neom today, as per Malachi 1:4. And notice in Obadiah 1:6, how are the things of Esau searched out, like we do here on the Watchman Report? How are his hidden things sought up? And this is the foreign ministry of Saudi Arabia talking and condemning the actions of Iran against Qatar with the U.S. bases there. But as I wanted to show you, Society of Jesus is 191. There goes the cipher. There goes the math. And like I said, today, June 23rd, leaves 191 days in the year. So that's why they're doing it, y'all. Listen, I'm not only proving all things with the Bible and rightly dividing the word of truth, but I'm also proving as to how the devil does everything by the numbers, okay, that we're seeing right in front of our eyes. As we're waxing worse and worse, remember, we're waxing worse and worse in this present evil world that's on a course by the devil's mystery of iniquity because he's the God of this world, and we're about to start the end of the world on warp speed, man. Right? I've been saying this since 2020. I'm a broken record, but we're almost there, y'all. I either think it's going to happen this year or next year. The end will start. We are. It's around the corner, and we know who to look at. MBS when he does that deal with Israel. But notice, another thing that we're seeing right now is this man. All right, this is the crown prince of the last Shah of Iran, and notice what they're talking about with regime change. This is one of the reasons why they could potentially be bringing it out so much, because on Iran International, an exclusive today said, regime change in Iran will pave the way for Mideast peace. Oh yeah, we're about to get some beast peace, y'all. Don't forget, everything we're seeing right now has to do with getting to the end of the world with the beast peace. When the beast Mohammed bin Salman, the prince of the covenant, will confirm the covenant with Israel. And notice, recently, we had Donald Trump say, MIGA for Make Iran Great Again. And here goes that man throwing up the Masonic compass. Everybody thinks that's a little peace sign. That's a Masonic compass, man. All right, all those Masons at the top, they know. But notice, they talk about King Reza. And notice, his name equals 56 and 191, like Society of Jesus equals 56 and Vatican equals 119. But MIGA also equals 56, like Society of Jesus. And if you think I'm a little crazy when it comes to this Vatican stuff, well, I could always easily tie it to the Vatican. Because here goes this man in 2023 at the Vatican taking his marching orders, but also being very ecumenical, talking about uniting the religions and making peace. All right, he's just another worker of iniquity serving the Vatican, the great city of Revelation 17:18 that reigns over the kings of the earth, man. All right, listen, when you come to the Watchman Report, the buck stops here, man. All right, you should not be deceived anymore. It's so simple, the simplicity that's in Christ. But notice, here he goes today. The former, crown prince of the last Shah, it says here, Iranian Crown Prince Reza. He said, I have a direct message to Ali Khamenei. Step down. It says, framing his appeal as a final ultimatum to the Iranian supreme leader. He added, if you do, you will receive fair trial and due process of law. Because, again, it clearly looks like they want to do a regime change. But at the same time, this was all planned with the devil's mystery of iniquity a long time ago. Don't forget, the Iranian Revolution was on a Jesuit founding date. They like to do this sort of stuff. And Ayatollah Syed Ali Khamenei equals 266, like Jesus Hominum Salvator. He's another Jesuit. They're all waxing and rowing into the deep. And here goes some images of the Shah and father of the Crown Prince with the Pope in 1958 as he visited the Vatican, and as the other Pope Paul VI visited Tehran in 1970. So again, man, it's the Vatican, y'all, okay? If you think the Jews run the world in the times of the Gentiles, you're wrong. It's the times of the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. And the devil's kingdom is not divided, and he runs it through Roma, with her Jesuit power structure. But back to the beast piece. Notice, guys, All right, the more time goes on, the more and more and more and more and more and more I will be proven to be correct. You know I am right. We are about to start the end of the world. Stop playing. Stop playing yourself. You know I'm right. You better get prepared or you're going to be suddenly destroyed. You're going to be left without home, without food, without nothing because you thought, oh, Marco's not right. Oh, yeah, no, everything's going to be fine. No. You're about to get wrecked. Just like Noah, all right? Flood's coming. Nah, Noah, you crazy, man. Bam, everybody died outside of the ark, okay? Now, here goes another example of how I am correct. And I had the perfect understanding. Because this keeps coming up. It's not going away. It's not going to go away. It's always going to come back. It's always going to be reminded to you. All right? And here goes another reference. U.S. strike reset Middle East. Paves for Saudi-Israel pact. Lindsey Graham tells Jerusalem Post. All right? So Lady G... he's another mystery of iniquity worker. Let me tell you, man, if you're in a tent in Saudi Arabia with the beast face to face, you are in the club. You are a wicked bastard rowing into the deep. He's another worker of iniquity. Clearly, ain't nobody just going to be in a tent in Saudi Arabia with the beast face to face unless he knows what's up with the devil's mystery of iniquity. And Lindsey Graham, Lady G, he knows. And again, there he goes, all right? For the U.S. striking Iran, that resets the Middle East and paves the way for the beast peace. That is the deal right there. That is the deal. Don't let anybody lie to you. And if they lie to you, slap them in the face, tell them, renounce them, get the hell out of there, tell them the beast is MBS, and that's the deal right there. When he does the deal, when Esau and Jacob do a deal, that's what starts the end. That is the deal. Ain't no other deal that starts the end. That's the deal right there. Okay? And notice what else we see here. Check this out. Netanyahu says he'll be able to secure Saudi normalization. Oh, why is that coming up all of a sudden? I thought you have to take care of Gaza. I thought you have to take care of Iran. All of a sudden, why are we talking about doing normalization with Saudi Arabia? All of a sudden, gee, I wonder why. Oh, maybe Marco is right. Of course I'm right. I know I'm right. I have the full assurance of the understanding as I prove all things with evidence. Evidence before our eyes. We have evidence. And notice the following. It says here, Israel is very close to achieving its two goals against Iran. Yeah, it looks like take out their nuke program and regime change. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu tells Friendly Channel 14, beginning with removing the nuclear and ballistic missile threat. Netanyahu says he is constantly reviewing whether the conditions are in place to end the war with Iran. There was a very serious strike on the Fordo nuclear facility, and we are completing what we need to complete, says Netanyahu. Now it says here, Netanyahu stresses that he and U.S. President Donald Trump were aware beforehand the operation both countries carried out against Iran. I didn't surprise him. He was fully updated on our action. And he didn't surprise me. I was fully updated on his action, Netanyahu says. Netanyahu says he will figure out a way to make peace with Saudi Arabia without agreeing to a Palestinian state. Listen, that's not what Joel 3:2 shows us, all right? So you just watch how this is going to turn into something interesting, all right? Riyadh has repeatedly insisted that it will not agree to normalize ties with Israel absent the creation of a pathway for a two-state solution. The other thing that I've said before, and I've been on record, I said Saudi Arabia might throw that away and just agree to a term of, let's say, 7 years to make a deal happen with parting God's land. That's another thing we could look for as well to start the end. But again, y'all, you ask yourself, what does this topic have to do? How relevant do you think should this topic be? It's not relevant, but that is the deal that starts the end of the world. That's why it keeps coming back and back and back. And I know who the beast is. And no, there goes Prince Mohammed bin Salman, that equals 666 with prime numbers. And that, when that happens, when you see this happen, that's going to fulfill Daniel 9:27 and Isaiah 28:15, man. But again, as I get some time to catch my breath, here's another example. Listen, guys, listen. When I see these news updates, man, I'm just like, Lord, it's too easy. It's simple, Lord. That's why they don't want to mention my name. It's so simple. Don't forget this. God always has a man on the earth, okay? There is a man since 2020 publicly out on the internet telling you what was about to happen and who the beast was and what starts the end of the world. Never forget that, okay? I don't see anybody else saying this publicly other than my brothers that are sharing the work here. I don't see no one else doing this publicly, man, okay? I feel like Elijah, like I'm the only one, all right? It clearly looks like the case unless you care to show me otherwise, okay? But otherwise, look at this. Another example of how I am correct about MBS. How U.S. strike on Iran fast-tracks expansion of Abraham Accords. Remember, the big fish is Mohammed bin Salman, and he's the beast. And don't forget that recently we had Donald Trump last month in May suck up to the beast with the following compilation here. Here goes the Hall of Shame from Jesuit-educated Donald Trump, sucking up to the beast of Revelation. Check it out.
I want to thank His Royal Highness the Crown Prince for that incredible introduction. He's an incredible man. Known him a long time now. There's nobody like him. Thank you very much. Appreciate it very much, my friend. King Solomon, who's just, we talk about a great man. That is a great man. That is a great man, a great family. Now, that visit took place exactly 8 years ago. The graciousness of the royal family and the Saudi people is really unsurpassed, no matter where you go. With this historic state visit, we celebrate more than 80 years of close partnership between the United States and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Ever since President Franklin Roosevelt met with King Solomon's father, King Abdul Aziz, aboard the USS Quincy in 1945. After so many decades of conflict, finally it is within our grasp to reach the future that generations before us could only dream about, a land of peace, safety, harmony, opportunity, innovation, and achievement right here in the Middle East. So beautiful. It's such a beautiful thing that's happening, I guess. And with the historic Abraham Accords that we're so proud of, all the momentum was aimed at peace, and it aimed very successfully. It's been an amazing thing, the Abraham Accords, and it's my fervent hope, wish, and even my dream that Saudi Arabia, a place I have such respect for, especially over the last fairly short period of time, what you've been able to do, but we'll soon be joining the Abraham Accords. I think it'll be a tremendous tribute to your country, and it will be something that's really going to be very important for the future of the Middle East. I took a risk in doing them, and they've been an absolute bonanza for the countries that have joined. The Biden administration did nothing for 4 years. We would have had it filled out. But it will be a special day in the Middle East with the whole world watching when Saudi Arabia joins us, and you'll be greatly honoring me, and you'll be greatly honoring all of those people that have fought so hard for the Middle East, and I really think it's going to be something special, but you'll do it in your own time, and that's what I want, and that's what you want, and that's the way it's going to be. But we have none stronger and nobody like the gentleman that's right before me. He's your greatest representative, greatest representative. And if I didn't like him, I'd get out of here so fast. You know that, don't you? He knows me well. I do. I like him a lot. I like him too much. That's why we give so much, you know? Too much. I like you too much. Oh, what I do for the Crown Prince. So, Mohammed, I want to thank you again very much for having me. And as a representative of what I think is the greatest nation in the world, we are with you all the way, and you have a tremendous future. Thank you very much. And please pay my respects to your father. Thank you very much. Thank you.
And he does have a tremendous future. They're going to kill him by the middle of the tribulation. He's going to come back to life with Judas in him, and he's going to rule the world for 42 months, all right? That's the tremendous future he's talking about. And like you said, there's nobody like him. But one of the other clips that I didn't put in that particular compilation is in the visit to Saudi Arabia, he talked to Mohammed bin Salman about not going to sleep well at night because he's always thinking about new things to do. And he said that, well, people that don't twist and turn will never take you to the promised land. And that is not in reference to Israel. Let me tell you, because recently I took note of this, okay? Don't forget, the heathen raged, the kingdoms were moved. We still have the zombie rage coming up with 70% of the world that got deceived to receive the Jesuit corona juice. And in the recent rage virus zombie film, 28 years later, they have a soundtrack piece there called Promised Land. So there goes Donald Trump with an allusion to their promised land with a bunch of zombies. Okay? Because he said, oh, they'll never take you to the promised land. And it's not talking about Israel. In 28 years later, that has to do with zombies with the rage virus. They have a song called Promised Land. That is what Donald Trump, Mr. Operation Warp Speed, is talking about. And don't forget, that satanic sellout that made, Danny Boyle, that made this rage film, he said recently, as a slap in your face, that COVID made 28 years later possible. We are now going to live 28 years later. We're about to live the rage virus. Don't forget that one song.
Gotta feel the rage, rage. Gotta feel the rage.
A lot of people going to feel the rage and then wake up a zombie like Lady Gaga said.
We're about to be up all night, waking up a zombie. So put your paws all over me, you zombie boy. You zombie boy.
Let me tell you, man, most of these wicked bastards, they know there is going to come a time with what they call the supernova event. And all the people that got the juice are going to be supernovaed, and then there's going to be a zombie star. Okay, they know when that date is going to occur. And I can think most of the stuff that we're seeing right now, the real reason it is happening so fast is because they're racing against the clock for that supernova. You mark it down, pun intended, for the mark of the beast. And don't forget, for those of you naysayers, the zombie apocalypse is in the Bible. The heathen raged, the kingdoms were moved. That is what's going to destabilize the world, and it'll never come back. The world will never be the same after that event. After that starts, the kingdoms will be moved. All right, that is going to destabilize the world and force the zombie rage apocalypse is going to force the world into the middle of the tribulation and mark of the beast. That is the mechanism. That is what nobody's talking about. Absolutely nobody. Now, like I said, right before I got on, I did want to take note that I just looked at the news and Benjamin Netanyahu has confirmed the ceasefire that Donald Trump announced. And as a lead up to the announcement, here goes Donald Trump on Truth Social. At 4:02 p.m., there goes a 42 reference for the 42 months that the beast is going to rule the world coming up. And notice he says, congratulations, world. It's time for peace. Oh, yeah, it's time for beast peace. Remember, beast peace cometh, and then the end will begin. And notice this. Like I said, guys, all we've been leading up to is the final countdown, 7 years before the real second coming. The end of the world is about to start. The real end of the world. And notice this. Trump said Israel, Iran agreed to a ceasefire. And this was the post that he made on Truth Social right before I compiled the report. At 6:02 Eastern Time here in America, Donald Trump said the following: congratulations to everyone. It has been fully agreed by and between Israel and Iran that there will be a complete and total ceasefire in approximately 6 hours from now. That makes it 7 a.m. Israel time, by the way. We got a 7-year tribulation coming, y'all, when Israel and Iran have wound down and completed their in-progress final missions for 12 hours, at which point the war will be considered ended. So again, he says ended, okay? Yeah, let's see about that, okay? Officially, Iran will start the ceasefire, and upon the 12th hour, Israel will start the ceasefire, and upon the 24th hour, an official end to the 12-day war, that's what he's calling it, will be saluted by the world. During each ceasefire, the other side will remain peaceful and respectful, on the assumption that everything works as it should, which it will. I would like to congratulate both countries. This is so crazy, man. Israel and Iran on having the stamina, courage, and intelligence to end what should be called the 12-day war. This is a war that could have gone on for years and destroyed the entire Middle East, but it didn't and never will. God bless Israel, God bless Iran, and God bless the Middle East. God bless the United States of America, and God bless the world. Donald J. Trump, the President of the United States of America. Man, oh man, y'all. I don't think we've seen the end of it all, though. Either way, I now want to play a brand new breaking clip of Jesuit JD Vance, our vice president, talking to Bret Baier. Don't forget, Bret Baier, he looks to be very important. He already interviewed the beast, has interviewed Netanyahu many times, and now he's talking about the ceasefire on Fox News. Check it out.
About what happened with Iran in the Middle East and some breaking news coming just now. Joining us this evening, Vice President JD Vance. Mr. Vice President, thanks for coming.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Just seconds ago, the president went to Truth Social and typed this. It has been fully agreed by and between Israel and Iran that there will be a complete and total ceasefire. Complete and total ceasefire is what he typed.
Yep.
What does that mean? How did it come about? What's the development here?
Well, we were actually working on that just as I left the White House to come over here. So that's good news that the president was able to get that across the finish line. I think what it means, Brett, is quite simple. First of all, the president, without, knock on wood, having a single American casualty, obliterated the Iranian nuclear program. We are now in a place where we weren't a week ago. A week ago, Iran was very close to having a nuclear weapon. Now, Iran is incapable of building a nuclear weapon with the equipment they have because we destroyed it. So that's a very, very big thing. Now, what that means, I think, is we have to talk to Iran and, of course, to Israel about what the future holds. Because while we have obliterated the Iranian nuclear program, our hope and our expectation is that they're not going to try to rebuild that program. And I think that's what the president is really trying to figure out here, is to build a long-term settlement here to where we can have peace in the region, where our regional allies and, of course, the American people, most importantly, can be secured, but where we can ensure that the destruction of the Iranian nuclear program that has already happened is not something they try to rebuild.
I want to get to the obliterated part in just a minute, but I just want to read this fully so I get the context here. Congratulations to everyone. It has been fully agreed by and between Israel and Iran that there will be a complete and total ceasefire in approximately 6 hours from now, when Israel and Iran have wound down and completed their in-progress final missions for 12 hours, at which point, the ceasefire for 12 hours, at which point the war will be considered ended. Officially, Iran will start the ceasefire, and upon the 12th hour, Israel will start the ceasefire, and upon the 24th hour, an official end to the 12-day war will be saluted by the world. During each ceasefire, the other side will remain peaceful and respectful on the assumption that everything works as it should, which it will. I would like to congratulate both countries, Israel and Iran, on having the stamina, courage, and intelligence to end what should be called the 12-day war. This is a war that could have gone on for years and destroyed the entire Middle East, but it didn't and never will. God bless Israel. God bless Iran. God bless Iran. God bless the Middle East. God bless the United States of America. And God bless the world. He seems confident that this is all coming together.
That's right.
And when you left the White House, were you thinking this was all gelling here?
When I left the White House, I thought that we might be able to get it across the finish line before this broadcast, and it looks like the president has been able to do that. I mean, look, he's been working the phones constantly. Frankly, before the 12-day war started, but certainly over the past 12 days, the president's been extremely clear about America's national objective here. It is to create a world where Iran cannot build a nuclear weapon. We, of course, destroyed the nuclear program that they had, and the president told the entire team, we're going to work to make sure that they don't try to rebuild that nuclear capability in the future. And it's, look, this is a great thing. For Israel, think about this. They've accomplished an important military objective. They've helped us destroy the Iranian nuclear program. They've also destroyed the conventional missile capability of Iran that threatened the country of Israel. For the Iranians, I think this is a new opportunity to actually pursue the path of peace. As I said yesterday, what the Iranians have showed through their support of terror networks, through their now failed effort to build a nuclear weapon, is that they're just not very good at war. And I think the president really hit the reset button and said, look, let's actually produce long-term peace for the region. That's always been his goal. I actually think when we look back, we will say the 12-day war was an important reset moment for the entire region.
Would you be surprised if Iran is sending out signals that it doesn't have a specific ceasefire plan? How would the communication have been with the Iranians to get this level of confidence to put out that detailed statement?
Well, one of the things I've learned, Brett, about the Iranians in the past, 4 or 5 months that I've been in this job is what they say publicly and privately can sometimes be very different. I think what the Iranians have shown very clearly is they don't want this war to go on for much longer. Their air defenses have been totally destroyed. Their conventional missile program has been largely destroyed. And of course, their nuclear program has been obliterated, as I said before. So I think the Iranians are at a place where they don't want to keep on fighting. You saw the president, and I don't have the truth in front of me, but he talked about the next 6 hours finalizing the attacks. I mean, I think what he's talking about is right now, for the American people watching, it's dark over there. That's typically when the Israelis and the Iranians have been shooting at each other. I think there's some recognition that that might continue for another few hours, and tomorrow really is a new day. The end of the 12-day war, the end of the Iranian nuclear program, and I really do believe the beginning of something very big for peace in the Middle East.
Peace in the Middle East, huh? All right, either way, there goes Jesuit JD Vance on the day leaving 191 days left in the year, like Society of Jesus, the Jesuits equals 191. That's what I call Jesuit JD Vance right there. And note, it's so simple, y'all. I don't even have to tell you the numbers. This guy's, whenever they do some significant stuff, they like to wear that Vatican yellow and white. Remember the Vatican flag? It's yellow and white. So be on the lookout for that, because don't forget, that is the city. It's not Washington. It's not London. It's Roma. The previous iron was ancient Rome. The final iron and clay kingdom is Roma, with the Vatican power structure. And the woman which thou sawest is that great city which reigneth over the kings of the earth. Remember, the whore Vatican is the city of Revelation 17, and she rides the scarlet beast, Judas Iscariot, the son of perdition. And he's coming back pretty soon by the middle of the tribulation in the body of MBS. But, guys, I took the following news as a big hint. I took the hint, y'all, because also over the weekend, it was told to us here that at least 2 explosions were reported at the Mar Elias church in Damascus. That's going to become a ruinous heap before the second coming. It says here, the church is said to be related to Prophet Elijah during his sojourn in the desert of Damascus. Let me tell you something, y'all. I took that hint. I got the hint. Thank you, guys. Because I do know, like Malachi says, the Lord will send Elijah as one of the 2 witnesses. Where in Revelation 11 it says, and I, the Lord, will give power unto my 2 witnesses. Man, listen up, y'all. A faithful ambassador is helped, but pretty soon when the fullness of the Gentiles be come in and the deal goes down, the nation of Israel is no longer spiritually blinded so that the 2 witnesses can go witness to them for the first half of the tribulation. And that is what's coming up, y'all. Okay? Essentially, you got Marco passing the baton to the prophet Elijah and the prophet Moses, right? The great servant of the Lord. That's what we're about to see. But don't forget, we still got zombies, though. Because also, over the weekend, I did see the following here. A big old slap in the face. That's also a reference to leave the world behind with the ship crashing into the sea there. Over the weekend in Egypt, on the Suez Canal, we had a big old ship called the Red Z1. And this is the side of it, with a big Z in red. And in the film World War Z, they have a big Z there with red, but also the zombies are called Zeds. We got a Red Z1 World War Z incoming, y'all, with the Jesuit Corona juice. Get ready for that one. That's all about to hit us like this big old boat just did in Egypt. And don't forget, it's the frogs of Revelation 16 that created the zombies. Just like we see with Looney Tunes, it's the aliens that created the zombies that we see in Daniel, where it says they, the devils, They mingled with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave in the kingdom of iron and clay. That's what we're living right now with the Jesuit Corona juice that'll make many into raging zombies. But over the weekend, we also saw this. New military video shows disc-shaped UAP or UFO over the Middle East in November of 2020. Interesting, huh? But what I caught is that why does it have to look like a total solar eclipse with the stellar corona right there? Again, y'all, like the Chicago Pope recently showed us, the harvest of the end of the world is coming in. That's why he was at a wheat field, because the wheat and the tares are coming together right now for the real end of the world. And like I said, this is how I see it stacking up. This year, we're looking to finish up with Iran and Gaza. The beast peace looks to be happening next year with the tribulation. The real end of the world looks to be starting next year. Could it start this year? Yes. Let's just keep watching. We know who the beast is. Then we just have to back it up a little bit here. But I look at it from the perspective of next year. And then we have the eclipse of the century, which could be a good date for the supernova and zombie star. But by 2033, if the end starts next year, the Lord comes back. I'm not telling you the day or the hour, but I know who the beast is that starts the end. And then I can start counting. But again, don't forget, the Lord said, behold, I come as a thief. Listen, if you're watching, he's not going to come upon you as a thief. You see it coming. Remember, a wise man's heart discerneth both time and judgment. That's why all these trends are coming together right now for the end. And the beast already showed us the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, the 7 kings of Revelation 17. He tells us that AI is within man now because of the COVID jab. And don't forget our films at beingjustified.com/beast, proving all things about the beast. And don't forget, we're also on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on the following platforms with the Watchman Report. And if you want the latest news in real time, go to our Telegram. That's the handle right there, Watchman_report. And don't forget to sign up to our free email newsletter at beingjustified.com. Again, don't forget, and whosoever was not found written in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire. Remember, you do not want to go there. Everybody knows, everybody should know they don't want to burn. And don't forget, in Romans 3, the gospel is right there in Romans 3:24-26, where you have to believe in Jesus and have faith in his blood, because beast peace is at the door. That's why we keep seeing, like I said, we are going to constantly keep seeing Saudi Israel, Saudi Israel, Saudi Israel. You know why? That is the deal that starts the end. Like I said, let's keep it simple. This is what we're watching for. MBS plus Israel deal, that's what starts.
This is the end, and I remember this feeling. Now I can breathe easy, no need to feel sorry. We should move up, we should move on, 'cause there's no coming back.
And a lot of people tell me, Marco, Prince is not part of his name. Well, Mohammed bin Salman, that equals 942, and that's 666 in base 12. He has 666 to his name twice, and when my father does something twice, it's established, and he's going to bring it to pass shortly. Every day we're getting closer to him fulfilling Daniel 9:27, starting the final week. 3.5 for the 2 witnesses, then the beast is killed and risen, and 3.5 for the kingdom of the beast. Again, blessed are those servants whom the Lord, when he cometh, shall find watching like we do here on the Watchman Report. If you're thankful, feel free to donate. Give us a like, share the links, join the Bible school. Most of you don't want to learn the Word of God, I understand. But either way, that's so that Christ can be formed in you, okay? Most of you will never see Christ in your flesh because you don't obey his commandment, and Christ will never live in your body. Remember that. Take heed. And don't forget what makes us special. We know justification is in Romans 3. Most people are cursed of God, like the book of Galatians says. We know that the all-authority written word of God in English without lies is the King James Pure Cambridge Edition Bible. And we read that book, the book of the Lord, according to his commandment in Romans 16, that the majority of the world is straight up ignorant about. They don't even know about that commandment. Again, there goes God's warning to you all in the land of the living. This is your faithful ambassador in Christ's stead, Marco Ponce, with the Monday edition of the Watchman Report. Time's almost up, y'all. The end of the world's about to start. Get ready. Get your house in order. Most of you probably not going to take heed. You'll be suddenly destroyed. Farewell.